Right, good evening everyone. I'm going to talk you through every single stage of what I've done so far. Bear with me, just getting a rag. Every single aspect of what I'm going to show you now, I'll tell you what I've done. These, I stripped myself. Just coated them in EN10, because EN10 petrol, as we all know, is actually quite a violent petrol to use. So it's actually good for cleaning off all the rubbish and all the muck. So after I clean them down, I'm not a lover of sending this sort of stuff to be sandblasted, because it can get gritty. So I've had them zinc plated and they are lovely. They're working fine. Locking mechanism's good. The door handle bit, yeah, it all seems to be tickety boo. Right, so that's that bit done. So in there, I'll just show you what it's like inside, where it's been done. They're lovely. They're really nice. Really nice. So that's that part of it done. Now, the next bit I've done, I've got original grommets that go in the top there for the locking rod. So that's done. The screw plate to hold the door handles, I've already tapped them out with tap and die. They're all tickety boo. They're fine, they're good. I did actually repaint these. I've got about 4 or 5 pairs of these, and these were the best pair I had. So yeah, they're good. They're all good. Fit this on first, just to make sure everything lines up. Most of it, I would think, is okay. If I'm honest with you, I'm going to show you some of the things that I've been doing that might be possibly, I don't know, possibly informative to some people. When you've tapped and dyed everything out, tapped it all out and re-threaded it and made it all nice, it's just so much more of a pleasure to put it all together. I'm not tightening any of this up dead tight, it's all just a bit lightly done. The next bit is my door handles. They've been totally stripped all the way through, from the link rod here being zinc plated, the springs. I took the door handles apart, sanded them down myself. I prefer to sand stuff down myself. The button, stripped that down, did that myself. I polish a lot of this stuff myself as well, and then I sent it to be chrome plated. So the button's been done, the handle's been done complete. So that's all. That's lovely. So that's good. These, which I think are one of the rarer items to find these days, if you can find them in reasonably good nick. If you ever find them, get them, because they're so, you know, it's funny because some people find some things easy to find and some of us find things hard to find. These, for me, were a nightmare to find. So obviously that's the stay for the link rod, which is this. Now these are great. I've got no real criticism of these in any way, shape or form. This is actually the wrong side, but I've made my own. So what I've done, I think this one should be the right side. Yeah, because your hook goes in behind there to crack onto that, and then that goes down on the inside to link in, and that obviously goes in there, which we all know. But I've made my own. It's just something that I wanted to do because I made them for the GT. So I thought I'd make my own for this. That's something I've done. The next thing for me to do is just make sure everything is sort of linking up, as it were. Now, the little clips that you can buy or use the original ones are actually quite hard to find. They're a nightmare to find. So I just thought I'd give you a lot of the heads up. Some of you again will know and some of you won't know. These are almost the same thing. So what you've got here, you put it in there, that's great. Wind it round. Bob's your uncle. They're all right. There's one problem with them though. One problem. That little recess gap there is thinner to what you need on the Escort. So unless you're prepared to open these out with a tiny file all the way around, that's the drawback. Because when you use them, they tend to kick out if you don't grind them to fit inside the aperture of the door handle. So if I show you what I mean, is that on camera? Can you see what I'm getting at? It's a tiny bit out. So you've got two choices. You either file this down to get that thinner, or you open that out. Or, and incidentally, I don't know if I've already said it due to age, these are Land Rover. Land Rover parts are quite good for getting you out of jail on certain elements. But then if you're lucky enough to have the original stuff, like these are mint. Perfect. Because I clean them up properly, and I go right through them, and then I zinc plate them, and they're great. But I'm not going to use them. I'll tell you for why. As good as they are, I find them to be just a pain in the backside for when you go to assemble the car and you're fighting in a tight corner inside that door, just trying to get it all to assemble up. Now, if you're a proper mechanic or a proper clever bugger, unlike me, I struggle with it. So what I prefer to do is tap down these ends, thread them out, each end, you put them in, you know exactly where you are, and they are not going anywhere. Now, ironically, this end here, when that goes into there, when I fit that in through that grommet, it's really, really tight. And because you're almost up against here, it ain't gonna go anywhere. It ain't gonna go away. It isn't going to go anywhere. So what I prefer to do with this one is just push it through that tight grommet. I actually have to take this out and push that through with the vise. This end, I tap them down, link them through, thread it down, bolt them in, done. For me, it's so much easier. Now, I'll end this video now because I'm going to set myself up to show you something. The original link rods for the original link rods to lock the door, which is that one there, goes into there. And that's all great. But again, I'm just not a lover of it. So I'm going to see if I can video it tonight, how I make them. I'm going to do it on time lapse if I can, because I'm getting flashy here, aren't I? So I'm going to try and do it on time lapse, and I'll show you like how I do it with a rod made of EN40B. Sorry, EN16, I beg your pardon. So this is the rod I use, and that's what the link rod I've made in here. It's all the same material. So I'm going to see if I can tonight. Might have to do it in a few stages, but just showing how I do it. Again, it's like I said, and I'm going to probably be really boring and tell you lot, I'm concentrating quite a lot on trying to get this on YouTube. I'm trying to get my followers up. I don't want to say it, but I would like you lot to subscribe so I can get me following up, so I can make this more of an impact for a lot more people to maybe help them along the way, because it's all just about, in my eyes, helping each other out and seeing if we can maybe guide a few people. Like last week, it's ironic that I asked on a video, what's the best thing to clean up my wiring loom? And it's the last thing I would have thought of, white vinegar. A lot of you have said it, and it's bizarre because I've just bought 6 5-litre tubs of white vinegar. And the reason why is because up there, you can just see a big sack. And that is baking soda. I mix white vinegar, baking soda and fairy liquid together, and I spray it all over my patio. Best weed killer you're ever going to make for yourself. It works brilliantly. Right, off the weed killer, on the rod. I'll post this up now on both YouTube and on Facebook, and I'll start doing a video tonight of how I make the rod that goes in through there, the link rod, out of this piece of steel. Is there anything else I've got to tell you or inform you of? No, I think that's it. So bear with me, and I'll catch up with you lot later. Good evening.